Welcome back to Antigua and Barbuda today, and in the studio with me this morning, I have Ms. Brenda Lee Brown, and we will be speaking today about gender-based violence, of course in Antigua and across the wider nation and world, etc. We know that is a very drastic problem and situation that we have ongoing. So she's going to be telling us a little bit about that, and they have 2 projects coming up as well. Good morning, Brenda. How are we doing today?
Good morning. I'm very well. Thank you for having me this morning.
You're welcome. No problem. So tell us what the state is currently in regards to gender-based violence.
I believe that we're all aware that gender-based violence, GBV, is a pandemic, a global pandemic, and it was heightened during the COVID lockdown, where persons were finding themselves in situations where there was no escape, right? So in Antigua and Barbuda, we have seen an increase. Not everything's reported. Not everything is in the headlines, the 5-minute wonder that we get in the news.
Yes.
So the Integrated Health Organization has been looking for funding to assist beyond the government control, because not all governments have the capacity to deal with this situation. It's a situation that needs community, society, government, all institutions to work hand in hand. So we've been able to get funding for 2 projects. One is called COIN, and I will not say the Spanish pronunciation of what COIN stands for, but it's a NGO based in Dominican Republic with US funding that looks at supporting and educating young people in what gender-based violence is, what they can do to not become a perpetrator or a victim, or how to help someone. So we had 3 workshops here in Antigua and Barbuda, working with young people aged 12 to 21. And we did sessions with young ladies first, then the young men, and then combined. And we realized in those 3 sessions that the key issue, apart from lack of knowledge, so we gave them knowledge, we gave them information on how to spot gender-based violence, which is not just physical violence, it's mental, it's emotional, it's financial.
Well, let's get a little bit into that, because I'm not sure if the general public understands what you mean by gender-based violence. So let's backtrack a little bit,
right,
and specifically tell them what exactly
right.
it is.
So when we think about gender-based violence, we think of domestic abuse. We think of women being physically
automatically
hurt, killed, etc. But what we don't include or realize is that this is more than just the physical. There is manipulation. There is withholding of affection, withholding of sex. There's coercion. There's withholding of finances, of threats. So this thing is not just about he hit her or she hit him, or he hit him or she hit her. It is about all of us in some way being affected by this pandemic.
And it's not necessarily just against women only. It can happen to men as well.
It's female to male, predominantly male to female. But there's female to male, there's male on male, and there's female on female. So, gender refers to all, right? So this violence, which has been, increased due to people's frustrations, economic pressures or whatever, we have to start realizing that it's language that we use towards each other. It can be gender-based violence, right? So a young man not realizing that inappropriate touching is gender-based violence. But because we women have not been socialized or into understanding the difference, we may say, it's stuffy foolishness, but actually...
Yeah, you laugh it off.
Yeah, it's not a joking matter. So gender-based violence begins with simple language, to inappropriate touching, to bullying, manipulation, to stalking. So most times we see and don't see these things, but it's so normalized for us. We hear and don't hear these things until it becomes a headline.
Yes.
Or we somebody films it and puts it on social media, and it's a 5-minute wonder. But the downside is that because we associate gender-based violence with an economic group, a lower economic group, we don't realize that it's across the board. All of us are, in danger of either being affected directly by it or know of someone or indirectly affected by it. So it's a thing that we all have to work against.
What are some of the other projects that the Integrated Health Outreach is working on?
So COIN is young people with workshops and giving them tools to understand how to be an effective communicator, how to be an effective listener, understand stereotyping, etc. The other side of that is we realize that in order for this to be eliminated, we have to go beyond the social media platforms. We have to go into the community, and the only way we can do that is to form coalitions. So under the UN Women MCO Regional Initiative, we have set up a coalition training workshop, which began 2 weeks ago at the Antigua State College conference room. It's every Tuesday at 5:30 to 7:30, 2 hours, where we are meeting with faith-based groups, community groups, youth groups, and getting them to work together as advocates for the voiceless. So they will be able to come together and support each other because, we do need the churches, the faith-based, to work with the community groups, to work with the sports groups, to work with institutions and youth groups. If we do that approach, it's a bottom-up. And then we can say, look, we are doing this and we recognize that we need safe spaces for young people to go and talk, especially males. They need safe spaces where they can go and talk about the challenges they face, whether it's mental, physical, sexual abuse, whatever it is that's happening to them. We need a refuge, a safe space for people who are being abused, can go and be taken care of. We need more counselors, we need some more social workers, but an advocacy group, a coalition building group, that's their job, is to we have some facility, so we're going to get trained in how to take care of, to be listeners, to be problem solvers, and then go to the authorities and say, look, we can offer you this space, but you need to give us and work with us this way. So it's a two-way, and not just a we want, or you need to do. It's everyone needs to come together and say, look, we need to sort this out, because it is beyond. We become so traumatized and normalized by this that even the way young women talk to each other, and you're like, yeah, because no one has said to us, actually,
it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Not good.
It's not good. So thankfully, IHO, which is a not-for-profit registered organization here in Antigua, it's 10 years old, and they've been looking at ways to work with marginalized groups to help them to improve their health, their social, mental, and economic welfare. Right? So we have other projects, but that's the main ones that we're focused on.
And I know you were mentioning safe spaces. Is that something that we have a good amount of, or
we don't have any?
None at all.
We don't have any because, again, it's a case of who will manage it. So that's why the coalition building is so important, because if you've got faith-based community, sports clubs, young people working together then they can form a place and say, you know what? This church or this sports club or this community group has a space, but we need counselors. We're going to need a nurse. We're going to need, and that's a safe space. So it's not a case of just money, it's will and finding, but we don't have any, and that is the challenge. That is the challenge. And we do have counselors who are doing fantastic work, but they are under-resourced and not enough, right? We have gender affairs doing great work, under-resourced, need more, so it's a cycle. So that's why NGOs and not-for-profits and community working together can assist those who have the mandate, help the police, help social services, help, whoever needs to help, counselors. We can offer them assistance. We're not experts. We're not going to take away anything. We want to be able to assist and build people up, give them tools to help them recognize this situation is not safe. How do I get out? Where do I go for help? How do I get help? Or how do I help? Because when your best friend tells you her partner ABC,
right.
If that was me, I would which is great on the one hand, but it's not always useful, and it kind of silences the person. Then they don't feel that actually you're not listening to what they need. Or we read the headlines and everyone's an expert on what the person should or couldn't have done. And you're like, actually, again, we're not listening to what they need and what help do they need. The help might just be someone to talk to. The help might be a place to go to. The help might be counseling. So, you know, it's all together. And what's fantastic about IHO is that it brings together persons from different walks of life to work together. So I'm part of a team of 4. So I have Pastor Karen Germain. She's a pastor, a counselor, and a teacher. With Sharon Nando, she's a lawyer and a coach and a volunteer with us. So she works with us. And we have Charmaine Gage, who's a lecturer and a social media maverick who does all our social media. And I'm a jack of all trades, expert of none.
Yes.
You know, but, so we work together to put out there what we need to do. But so if anyone is interested in joining the coalition and working with us, they can contact me on 726-5468 or check our Instagram page, IHO_AB, for more information.
All right. Well, we just want to take this opportunity to, you know, wish you the best in your endeavors, and we hope that you get the assistance you're looking for, I guess, from the general public and the people in charge.
From general public, from the media,
yes,
our media partners, you know, we need the media partners. We need everyone to, this is crisis, this is a pandemic. And the same way we came together and worked to stem the flow of COVID-19, that's the energy and focus we need to stem the pandemic of GBV. So that our young people, our old people, our men and women, everybody, no matter the socioeconomic strata, feels safe and seen and listened to.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you sometime soon again.
Thank you very much.
All right, then. Guys, we have Carnival in the air. Lots of things coming up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.